Okay, so one advanced standing stretch for the hip flexors is the lunge stretch, and it can be done with the knee off the floor, or it can be done with the knee touching the floor. Again, be careful, very careful with any knee injury. And this is to stretch the psoas muscle. It's a very good idea to engage the core, always, to protect the lower back. So think navel to spine, pelvic floor, and that stops the sacrum from rolling it back, keeps the pelvis anterior. So engaging the core, and then the stretch really does go into the psoas. Okay. And another variation of this, if you can do this, again this is very advanced, ideally keeping the forward knee at a 90-degree angle, which may be impossible. You may need to drop that down to 80 degrees. I will do this supporting my foot and knee with my hands. Probably barefoot is best. So I have my knee on the mat, my whole leg, shin is on the mat. Okay, I could have this hand here because this foot is going to tend to bend back that way. So I'm just holding the foot. You also tend to fall over sideways, of course, so try to stay upright. And this stretch is in two places. One is in the back foot hip flexor, but more importantly in the hip flexor of the forward leg and the lateral rotators, the piriformis. And you will feel this in the outside, the lateral buttock of the front leg. If you're very good at this, you can then bring your head down towards the floor, towards the mat. Now for some people, runners, this is a very good exercise. When you're warm, you'll get more stretch out of the muscle. But for some people this is going to be very difficult, so perhaps compromise it and start off with a knee bent to 70 or 80 degrees rather than 90. But this begins to put the stretch not so much in piriformis but in the gluteus medius, the main gluteal muscles. But this is perhaps safer and achievable, and you can see from here you can again lean forward to get the full stretch. For those of you that are very flexible, for those of you who know how to engage the core, this is a good exercise to do. And I'm going to finish this with a down dog, which is a hamstring and calf muscle stretch. The principle of the down dog is not to get the knees straight. The knees can be bent, but to have the buttock bones facing upwards and retracting the shoulder blades together. The action in the index finger and thumbs. So lifting up my pelvis as high as I can. And most people will experience a stretch in the hamstrings. But it's also an upper back exercise. Okay? I'll show you that on the other side. We'll run through that one more time. We have a lunge. For yoga people, this will be familiar as the sun salutation sequence, which will contain some of this. A lunge could be done with the knee on the floor, engaging the core, which puts the stretch into the psoas. If I want to work on my piriformis, this is my tighter hip, then ideally keeping the knee at 90 degrees, tend to fall over sideways, so stay upright, adjust the back foot if you need to. Most of the stretch is in the front buttock on the outside, and the lateral hip rotators, but also in the hip flexor, the psoas, and the back. The advanced version of this, for those of you who are very supple, is to come forward, head towards the floor. engaging your core. Now I'm going to stretch out my legs, and if you're doing all this stuff, then you should be doing a down dog as well, because that stretches out the hamstrings. And the down dog, the index finger and thumb, the elbows facing, feet not too wide, the knees can be bent, but getting the buttock bones facing upwards, lifting the pelvis high. Let the head hang. Another hamstring stretch, walking the hands and feet together, would be what they call uttanasana in yoga, but it's rather nice because the weight of the head can also relax the upper back. Yes, my hamstrings are fairly supple. Engaging the core as I come up.